Hi everyone. First let me say welcome back. My name is James Whitlow Delano, and in the first episode of Malayan Tigers at a Tipping Point, I talked about the country of Malaysia, setting the backdrop of why there's been an increase in tiger attacks on humans. In this episode, what I want to do is talk about specific tiger attacks and the families and communities that have been affected by this. But first, let me reintroduce myself, and if you like what you're seeing, please hit the subscribe button. So once again, my name is James Whitlow Delano. I've worked with many of the best publications in the world. I've published several award-winning photo books, exhibited my photographs on 6 continents, and I love to pass my knowledge on to others. In 2016, I founded Everyday Climate Change on Instagram. This story, The Malayan Tiger is at a Tipping Point, was pitched to by me and published in Inside Climate News. Not all tiger attacks are fatal. In the case of Adin Ando, who is now 50, who lives in the Central Forest Spine, he's in a Temiar community. He survived the tiger attack. He was in his farm clearing weeds with a parang, which is a indigenous way of saying machete in Malaysia. He said he was out clearing and he noticed a tiger that looked to him to be a juvenile staring at him, and he said it was about 15 meters away. It wasn't looking so big, but he was nervous, and the tiger seemed to be nervous as well, and they stared at each other for 15 minutes, he said. And he kept on saying to himself, "Be brave, you have to be brave." He prayed to the guardian deity of nature. It's a Temiar deity, for strength. And eventually what happened was the tiger advanced upon him. And when it lunged at him, he held his parang up like this with 2 hands to brace against the tiger, and they fell backwards onto his back, and the tiger bit into his arm. His arm has never been the same. It tore into the muscle and the ligaments, tendons, etc. Then he said the tiger bit into his skull. That was when he lifted the parang and struck down across the face of the tiger, lacerating it. The tiger went to flee, and as it did, its one claw caught his left eye, forever blinding him in that eye. But he did survive. It took several hours for an ambulance to come. He was taken to the hospital, Adin was, and he stayed in the hospital for 5 days under oxygen. The Kelantan state, which in this territory sits, the Wildlife and National Park Department set up surveillance cameras and spotted a tiger, set a cage out, and captured a tiger with a laceration across its face. So they were certain that they had captured the actual tiger. Adin says as time has gone by, he's been less afraid to go out into the fields, but he said he would not be unhappy if there were no more tigers. I was able to access Temiar villages with the help of Hafiz Nasaruddin. He's one of the founders of an NGO called Kuwasa, and he's an advocate for Temiar rights. land rights, and they are actually actively doing barricades against loggers and so on. I had been trying to get in touch with a Temiar activist named Mustafa Along. They're kind of off grid up there, so Hafiz responded to one of my queries and acted as the mediary. And frankly, without his amazing Hilux truck, access to Temiar villages would have been absolutely impossible. And of course, they speak Malay. He is Malay, and he speaks very good English, so he could help translate as well. I cannot emphasize enough how deep into those mountains, along rutted, muddy, now logging roads, access would have been impossible without a four-wheel drive. So Hafiz, on so many levels, made my encounters with the Temiar possible. Without his help, it would not have happened. So what does it mean to be a journalist and telling their story, the Temiar people's story? This comes with a great deal of responsibility. You have to tell the story in a proper context with sensitivity. What I am trying to do here is amplify their voices and let them tell their story through me. Another very important issue, I remember being in Haiti with a writer, and right on the border of Haiti, actually in the Dominican Republic, working with some sugar workers who were Haitian. I remember the writer making promises I was not comfortable with. I never make promises. I only promise to tell stories. You can't promise results in their lives. And one of the sugarcane cutters named Wasi came up to me and said, "What exactly are you going to do to change my life?" What a question, and what a fair question. And I just told him that I will tell your story, as I am right now, to as many people as will listen, because he was only being paid just barely enough every day to buy food. That was it. It was just a half step above slave labor. And what do you say to somebody like that? When we arrived in the Temiar village, I turned to Hafiz and I said, "Is today a festival day?" Because there was a great commotion when our truck was arriving. People were in traditional clothes. It looked like a festival with a headdress, hats of many sorts. Some people were wearing, decorative clothing and crowding around the truck. And I just talked about the sense of responsibility. It just kind of all came in. And no, it was not a festival day. A big feast had been prepared for us. The community, this was post Pasik, where they had lost a member of their community to a tiger attack. They were so anxious and excited to be able to tell their story about what was happening to their land. They pulled out a map and they showed where all the loggers were busy, and we went to talk to them about the loss of Pisie Amud. So after eating, again, I made very clear of what my intentions were and what I was going to try to do by telling their story, and nothing more, no promises other than that. So after eating, we sat down with Shahira, Pisie Amud's widow, and she talked to us about how Pisie was 25 at the time. She is 22. It was late afternoon. It was in October, and he had decided he was going to go out with his blowpipe and hunt for birds. No one would go with him. He asked his brothers. They declined to go. And it was getting late. So usually, she said, he was home by 4 in the afternoon. Well, by 6 o'clock, he wasn't back yet. And then by 8 o'clock in the evening, food was on the table. His dinner was on the table. Pisie still wasn't back. And then she became worried and reached out to other members of the community to talk about this. So by 8 p.m., dinner on the table, he still wasn't back. And she said even if he was unsuccessful, he was always back by that time. So she informed community members, and they assembled a search party to go out for a little while, but where no one knew where he was, and it was getting dark. So they abandoned that effort and started in the morning again. They went out all day long searching for Pisie and found nothing. Then toward nightfall, they found his motorbike in a oil palm plantation. And there had been evidence of something large. It looked like something large had been dragged down toward a river. So they carefully made their way down to the river, and one of his brothers found his body. It was missing one arm, part of the torso was gone, part of his skull was gone. They decided to gather a group of people there with fireworks and hold vigil during the night, because it was too late to bring the body back. They would have to wait till morning, but they knew the tiger would return, and return it did, and they had to fire off fireworks and make noise and so on. They were lightly armed. I mean, they basically had spears, and that was it. Then they were able to bring his body back to the village. So how do you document this? Because basically, tigers are like phantoms. As I mentioned earlier, often the first tiger you see is the one that takes your life. So how do you document this? Well, what I've done is documented what is happening to the land and to the communities, and to listen to their stories and pass their stories on. So leaving the highway, which is surrounded by oil palm, and that I know from history less than 50 years ago was virgin rainforest, you enter into an area of utter destruction. The ground laid bare, once clear rivers suffocated by subsoil sediment, orange sediment I described in the earlier time, showing logging trucks, logging depots where you have heavy machinery, front-end loaders, and huge tractor trailers bringing out timber or palm oil fruit, showing how, again, a pristine environment becomes an industrial zone, and then you can see the terracing of bare land that had been the most diverse ecosystem on the planet being set up and prepared for oil palm plantations, listening to people's stories, listening to their anxiety, their helplessness, their powerlessness, and now again with the diminishing of the forest, they worry about tigers. And yet this human wildlife conflict is probably the biggest, clearest sign that the Malayan subspecies of the tiger is at the precipice of becoming extinct. So this is how you document a story about a phantom predator preying upon people, and you amplify their expectations, fears, hopes, and let them tell the story through you, and you provide the visuals through the logging trucks, through the chainsaws, through the bare ground, through the dust, and the ruination of land where they've lived for thousands of years. It is the end of their world as they know it. And trying to place the viewer in their shoes. Imagine how you would feel if you were a New Yorker and suddenly someone says, no, you can't go into Central Park. I know it was yours for 5,000 years, but it's ours now, and all those trees are gone. We own them, and there is nothing you can do about it. That's what I'm trying to communicate. While there is forest, there is hope. And Malaysia has forest, magnificent forest. And has tremendous wildlife, biodiversity. And so there is hope. There are good people in Malaysia like Hafiz. You will be introduced to the NGO Rimau, which is short for Harimau, which means tiger in Malay. There are good people working to save natural corridors, help indigenous peoples save their culture, protect their land, and not have it taken away. So we're going to talk more about that in the time ahead, and thank you very much for listening. I think this is an incredibly important story, a story of our time. And if you liked what you saw, please hit the subscribe button, because I'd like to have you back and continue this conversation. Thank you very much.